Hey there, how you doing? It's Matthew Hunt from Automation Wolf, and today I want to go through a bunch of cold email writing rules. Okay, this is specifically about cold email. If you use cold email or thinking about using cold email to do some prospecting or to build relationships, this is going to be a great video for you. So let's just get right into it. So here's the thing you want to do. The first goal with cold email is obviously to get it opened, right? So you got to write a great subject line. And what I've learned from sending thousands and thousands of cold emails is that personalized yet simple, okay, subject lines work best. And what I'll do is in the comments somewhere around this video, or I'll put a link somewhere, I don't know where, you can go and download my subject line swipe file, and you can use them all. But what I found works best is just like first name, quick question, or first name, two quick questions, or first name, quick question about your company, right? And all those sort of fields where it says your name and company name and first name. A lot of times when you're using good automation software, you can just dynamically put that in. So that'll be really easy for you to do as long as you've got a great database or a great spreadsheet that you've put together. So generic works better, and usually ask a question. When you say quick question, people just feel compelled to open it most of the time. Now, the next most important part is going to be personalization, personalization, okay? So if you are not in your database when you're doing cold email, especially if it's en masse, have a column for personalization where you can go do some research and write one line, ideally a compliment. You're going to find that this is a lot harder. It's really important that you do that and take the time to do that. And ideally make it the first line that you write that personalization. The reason being is because a lot of times in these email clients, they show a snippet of the first line. And so if they say, hey, quick question, and then they see a snippet that's a compliment, that's personalized, that's not generic, it's going to compel people to open your email again. And remember, opening it is key. If they don't open it, they didn't read it. They never saw it. It just falls on deaf ears, right? So this is also a reason why you also want to also send follow-up emails, right? Because a lot of times the first email is not always even opened, right? So personalize the first line. That's a rule that you're going to want to do. Tell them who you work with, like be a name dropper, right? Seriously, if you got some great clients, drop those names like, hey, we work with this. And ideally, if they're in the same vertical, like if it's, if you work in finance and it's a finance company, mention the finance ones. It is a little tricky sometimes if it's a direct competitor. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. You have to be strategic about when it does, right? Because sometimes if whatever it is that you're selling, they only want one. Like if you're a marketing agency, they only want one agency of record for that. Like you can't say, go to Reebok and say, hey, Reebok, we're the agency of record for Nike, but we want to do business with you. It's not going to work, right? But you could go to other clothing retail stores and say, hey, Sephora or whatever it is, right? We work with Nike and I think we could work with you. So you got to, it just depends, but dropping names is important. And ideally keep it as close as possible to the vertical that they're in so that it gets their attention. And sometimes it works really well if it's a competitor and sometimes it doesn't. It just depends on what it is that you are doing and selling. All right. Only have one simple CTA. I can't tell you how many times I see these terrible emails where there's like 5 questions and you're giving the prospect homework. They're never going to reply. Why are you making it so hard for them to reply? The first goal is to reply. Even if they reply with one word, you now have a dialogue. Even if the word is no, no is good too. Getting no's is important, right? It's not always about getting yeses. I know that sounds crazy, but why do you want to follow up with people who are never going to buy from you or not interested right now? Like part of it is sorting. Give them the permission to do that. Always in your email say, hey, it's okay to say no. Feel free to reply with not interested, right? Like allow them, give them permission. Because sometimes people even are scared to do that. They don't want to, and it's good. Like you're sorting. No's are just as important as yeses. Celebrate every single no. But at the same time, have one simple CTA, okay? It's got to be easy to act on and only ask them one question at a time, all right? All right, make sure your emails pass the Flash readability test. So this is really important. Most people actually, even high-end executives, read at a grade 6 level. I know I do for sure. And so there's really cool tools, right? Like a Grammarly is a fantastic tool. You stick it in there and it's going to tell you the readability of your emails. Also, because we read so many emails, on our phone, don't write lots of big traditional classic English paragraphs. Like literally every sentence almost, you can break it up by a hard break, a line break, because it's easier to scan and read. It makes it easier for people to understand what it is you're saying. If they understand what you're trying to get at, it'll work better. Okay. Make sure your goal, okay, is to get the conversation going. So we talked about this a little bit. Remember, the first one is to open it. The second is to get a reply. And then the third is to start having a dialogue. Like remember where you are in the sales sequencing. And this is, this is really, really important. Some people don't understand this. And if you don't realize where you are and you start pitching or selling before you really should be, you're going to turn people off. And this is not going to work well for you. Humor. Okay, use humor as much as possible. There's a lot of great ways to do it, to be a little bit cheeky. And if you make someone laugh, they're going to like you. It fires off chemicals in their brain where they go, oh, I like this. Why we go watch, comedy shows and stand-ups and comedy movies and sitcoms. And we love this because we feel better. We literally, when we laugh, we're releasing all these endorphins in our bodies where we feel great and we like those individuals. So if you can make them laugh, okay, in a non-cheesy way. I mean, don't just try to be the funny guy, but, genuine about it. They're going to at least, you're going to disarm them. And sometimes you're going to reply. I've had so many people who reply to some of our emails are like, okay, all right, you got me. That was really funny. And you certainly got my attention, right? Or they say that was a really interesting way you got my attention. It deserves a reply. It happens all the time, right? So that's important. Be humor. Like the big thing is like when you're done writing your email, before you send it, just go, would I appreciate this email? Even stress test it with some of your friends and family. Send it to them. Other people go, would you appreciate this email? And really test it out. Like don't test it out on your ideal prospects. Don't do that. Like, especially if you have a small group of people that you can sell to, test it out on other people. Just be like, hey, would you appreciate this? Would you reply to this? And a lot of times people read their email and they're like, no, I wouldn't. You're like, okay, we'll go back into writing it, because writing great emails is all about rewriting. Rewriting is writing. It's always in the rewrites. And sometimes you got to rewrite this stuff over and over and over again. You got to sleep on it. It is not easy, especially when you have a short email to communicate what it is that you do. Every word counts. It's not, if it was easy, then everybody would get this well. But the reality is you see most of the cold email and most of it's crap, right? Let's be honest with it. It's garbage. So you got to put some thought into this. It's always about this. You got to put some strategy and thinking into it. All right. Email needs to be as short as possible. Now, you do want to hit all the points. So I have another video about this called the 5R cold emailing framework based off of Dan Martell's stuff. Check out Dan Martell. He's awesome. So if you follow this, you got to hit all those marks on the framework. If you don't have that framework, go check out one of my other videos, or I'll put a link to it somewhere around this video. And then the last part is always make sure your email looks real. Like make sure you have an email signature. Ideally put a photo in it. People want to know what you look like. And when you look like a real person, and I've tested this before, having your photo in the email of your headshot works better. They can see you. I have another video about how to have great headshots. I'll put a link to that too. Have an address. Like if your real businesses have address, a phone number, and in all around, just make sure you look like a real person. Make sure it comes from a real email, not some crappy Gmail account or something like that as well too. So be real. Those are some of the email rules. If you enjoyed this, support me. Give it a like. Or if you got something to add to this and you want to add to the conversation, comment below. And if you're interested in learning how to automate your B2B prospecting, those low-level sales activities that people just don't have time to do and really don't enjoy, head over to automationwolf.com. This is where I show you our system on how to automate that process so you can focus more on those high-level sales activities like building relationships and closing deals. We call it the ultimate B2B sales machine. And it's a 3-pillar system called Foundation, Automation, Transformation. I think you're going to really love it. There's an ungated video over there that shows you the 10,000 foot view that you can watch at any time. Hope you're having a great day, and we'll be talking to you soon. Bye for now.